Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the Dragondrop League number 6 on Truesight TV. I'm SB Revolution 5, joined here by Hippie Casting for Boreal up against Complexity, a match that is highly anticipated and should be quite interesting, as these two teams are pretty evenly matched. Hippie, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. I mean, there's been good Dota on all day, so getting into some good NA Dota, always a good side of things, especially with Complexity. I'm still really hyped to see these guys show at TI. I mean, Swindle was kind of flaming me in the lobby because I said publicly on Twitter that I didn't think they'd do very well when they got invited to the qualifiers, and I got kind of dunked on with that whole prediction. So now, though, I'm actually really excited to see these guys every time they play because of how badly they blew everyone else out.
Yeah, they've really, almost you could say, come out of nowhere, just because of their explosive play, their intelligent drafts, and I mean, the addition of Fly to the team really did something, and Moomeander coming back as well really made them a force to reckon with, and we saw that in the TI qualifiers. They'll be picking up our Leshrac first, as well as banning out the Boreal Signature Tusk and the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, and Tusk in general is actually getting a lot of play from several teams. I think it was No Tail was playing him earlier today for C9, which I actually think Fly was standing in for, amusingly enough, the C9 versus Mouse series that happened earlier. But in general, the hero is seeing a lot more play. It's really nice, kind of like a Shadow Demon, to have the defensive ability of the Snowball to shut down strong initiation, because so much of this game is, this current metagame is kind of mid-game ganky heroes with teamfight power. So just the ability to dodge a lot of that AoE, especially for several heroes, as long as the Tusk is positioned right, is really valuable. Also, I mean, Jeppins just plays it like a masterpiece. It's some of the best Tusk play I've witnessed. I've seen some really good Tusk.
Yeah. Shadow Fiend is going to be picked up by KVH, well, by Penguin for KVH, and they'll grab the Clockwork for the offlane, probably going to be in the hands of Jeppins. This is a very in-your-face kind of lineup, with the Shadow Fiend there to dish out a lot of right-click damage. So. Yeah, easy setup for a double raise, too. Obviously, with the Clockwork, you just get that little bit of overlap area in the raise, and that's an easy 600 damage in the early game. So that's actually a really effective. Even if the Shadow Fiend's kind of solo in a lane against somebody, Clockwork Hook is just instant death for everyone but the tankiest heroes.
10 seconds remaining.
And Complexity going to come up with their second pick. Now, they do have the opportunity to pick up something like the Shadow Demon to potentially defend against the Clockwork, as well as set up the Leshrac stun. Do you think they're going to go for that here, Hippie?
Chen.
Well, there's the Chen. I mean, SD as a second pick, he can be good. It really depends on who you have playing him. Some people are much more comfortable with SD. I think PPD is an example of that. People who are just super comfortable on the hero, because honestly, he is kind of an awkward hero to play at a high level. A bad disruption can lose you a fight as quickly as a good one wins it.
Exactly. And of course, Chin likely to be banned out in the second phase, as Complexity does pick it up quite a bit.
5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, they have some fantastic Chen games, and just the ability, obviously, anyone the Clockwork initiates on, get that Hand of God off, possibly save them from whatever setup there is there. I mean, he's never not been a strong hero, I think. There's been times when Enchantress has been a better pick, but Chen has never really been bad.
Yeah, Chen has always been that really great defensive and aggressive support in different ways. Defensive in the sense he can get your heroes home in literally a flash. He can heal them up quickly, but also he can push very hard. He can dish out tons of pure damage in the potential of his nuke. We will see Boreal banning out the Witch Doctor. A little surprising seeing the Chen pick up, but they'll get rid of the Lina on the side of Complexity. Now, another hero who is just can easily become a monster if given space. And now Dazzle being banned out, as Boreal will pick up the Gyrocopter, who has been ignored up to this point in the draft.
That's pretty surprising. He's usually touched on in the first phase. I mean, if he's not banned or picked in the first phase, he's usually taken out before the second phase. So kind of interesting that they let him get through. That does set all of the cores from Boreal, so Complexity should know that all they really have to worry about are supports, unless someone's pulling out a support gyro, but that's nowhere near as good now that he needs the levels on to get that Rocket Barrage quite as strong. I think the Dazzle and the Witch Doctor bans are actually really nice. With Leshrac, you want a lot of good defensive supports to make sure he just doesn't go down. So if he gets early mana regen, if you have defensive supports, he doesn't need to be quite as tanky before he starts engaging, because people can keep him alive. And obviously, the longer that Pulse Nova is ticking, just the more ridiculous the hero gets.
Yeah. But Rubik already being picked up here, there's already some pretty great steals. I mean, we've seen games turn on the back of a stolen Requiem. And I want to say that was Complexity where I've seen it. Gyrocopter, of course, and Clockwork also having amazing spells you can get your hands on as Rubik. So, I really like this pick, although it does put Complexity in a position that they basically have to pick up their cores in the last phase of the draft, and it allows for some very targeted bans by Boreal, or one very targeted ban.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah. I mean, I think for this, what you want is some supports with more setup and stun. You don't really have a lot of lockdown on Boreal right now. If you can hold people in place for the Shadow Fiend and the Gyro, you can just do enormous amounts of damage. The Earthshaker is banned out and the Rubik picked up. Obviously, those are two really, really good supports as far as lockdown goes. And they banned out the Witch Doctor themselves. So, I'm trying to think who else they grabbed. I mean, a Shadow Demon probably wouldn't be that good for them. They don't have good, like, delayed stuns they could set up with that.
Yeah, and you can't pick up the Lena now because she's banned out as well.
Yeah, she's banned out. I mean, you could get Shadow Demon. He sets up for the,
Call down?
for the Gyro call down.
Yeah.
Which can be really, really strong.
Requiem as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
Requiem.
a very odd pairing, but it actually
I don't
works
think
well.
it's going to be SD.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll pick SD.
Lion's still in the pool, of course, and he's...
Lion would probably be good, yeah.
Very good hero, but Crystal Maiden is going to be their choice. A bit squishy, but not too surprising. And in the same sense I was saying, Complexity have to pick up cores in the latter half of the draft. Same with Boreal having to pick up their supports. They don't really have the option to go for the cores later on, because, I mean, they've got 3 cores. Unless this is support Shadow Fiend, which, as popular as it is,
Crystal
I highly
Maiden's
doubt it.
against Chen.
Yeah.
Having the Frostbite on the Chen creeps, especially early when he only has 1 or 2 creeps, she can just shut down rotations so easily. It's really, really nice. So if she wants to, like, maybe play defensively around the mid lane, because there's almost always a Chen gang coming in the mid lane, you can shut down that aggression really, really easily, unless they're willing to rotate the Rubik as well, which of course leaves whoever their safe laner is kind of vulnerable. I would kind of expect Lesh to be the safe lane at the moment, just because Lesh Rubik is a strong combo. You can get a good setup for the stun if you can get your hands on the Clockwork. You can pull him out of the cogs, obviously, if he tries to go defensive with them. But because Lesh in the safe lane plus Chen is like a pre-10-minute tower very, very easily for that safe lane.
Yeah, definitely. You've got just a massive push power coming out. I wouldn't be too surprised if Complexity picked up something else that's able to push rather quickly. I know they've played around with Dragon Knight in the past, but I'm not so sure this will be the pick here. Actually, Undying is still in the pool.
I don't think either team can fit him. I mean, you
against the Gyro,
you don't have the potential. Well, yeah, I mean, you don't want to pick him into the Gyrocopter, but also, I mean, I guess Boreal could pick him as a last pick support, but I mean, it's kind of awkward. Complexity burning pretty much all of their reserve time here. I think the Dragon Knight actually would be kind of nice. There's a lot of heroes that suffer to that really big stun.
Juggernaut.
Yeah, but Juggernaut gonna have a very nice time against these heroes. This is something me and Plague were talking about last night, saying, okay, well, you could pick up the Lifestealer against Gyro to have that magic immunity, but, I mean, you have to draft a Lifestealer, which is kind of the problem. Drafting a Juggernaut is great, especially against Crystal Maiden, especially against Clockwork. I mean, heroes that want to be sort of in your face, Crystal Maiden and Clockwork, both of the ults, and the Omni Slash is gonna really do some work against them.
Yeah, it does. That does, I think, mean the Lesh is going to be in the mid lane instead. But Juggernaut is also a hero who can push really nicely with the healing ward. And obviously the spin to take out the creeps, so Chen can just kind of smack the tower. So, still gets them an early safe lane tower, most likely, unless Boreal's willing to commit a whole lot to stop that push. And I think the Lesh is actually a pretty solid matchup against the Shadow Fiend, with just how well he can spam him out in the early game. Especially if Chen gets maybe, like, well, he's stacking. So, a lot of the times we'll see if Chen could get an early Harpy or an early Satyr Hellcaller, the one with the Hadoken, and send it mid lane, then he can just stack up the hard camp and wait until he gets a bird and harass the mid lane until he gets it.
10
Yeah.
seconds remaining.
And
Really, really valuable.
we've seen games won on the back of that.
5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, if you can dominate... I mean, Shadow Fiend can definitely recover, but this is the kind of game, when you have a Juggernaut and a Lesh as the cores you're up against, you don't want to have to spend time recovering, because they're going to be able to press an advantage very, very hard. On the other hand, though, ooh, Sand King. I actually really like that. Between the Sand King and the Crystal Maiden, you have a lot of really good AoE that makes it hard for Complexity to kind of push into difficult situations.
Yeah.
Which means that with both the Gyrocopter and Shadow Fiend farming speed, even if you have a little bit of trouble in the early game in the laning phase, the Clock, the CM, and the Sand King should be able to back you up enough on the back of your high damage spells that you can use your recovery mechanisms to get back in the game. I think that's actually a really stable draft Boreal's put together. I like it.
Yeah, and of course not only the Caustic Finale against Chen, but the fact that they're going to match up the greed of a Chen with the greed of a Sand King and being able to abuse the jungle is a very big deal. And Complexity may not quite be prepared for this. I'm assuming we're going to see the off later, and that's going to be Nature's Prophet here for Complexity. Another push hero, something I do like, but I'm not sure I like it with the Chen, because he doesn't have a jungle to really fall back on at this point unless he wants to go for the pub cliff jungle, which, dear God, please no.
Hey, shoutouts to Sky Cusa in the chat actually called that. He said, I'm predicting the Moon Prophet at the very start of this draft.
Yep, and he just said DK plus Furion.
Yeah, hey, I mean, I do definitely agree. There's a lot of great pushing potential on Complexity, so it is going to be kind of hard for Boreal to hold off this early aggression. They do have some okay AoE. The Gyrocopter is nice at slowing down pushes, as is the Shadow Fiend, so they can probably deal with the split push of Moon Meander, but at the very least, it's going to create a lot of pressure in a lot of places on the map. They can basically be pushing 3 lanes at once, and just be very careful, especially if you get like some aggressive wards up around the 10 to 15 minute mark, maybe 15 to 20 if you're waiting on some items. They'll be able to get a whole lot of work done on towers, maybe even clean up some T2s before then.
Sorry. Yes, that's definitely their plan here. It's not a death ball push, but more of a slight split push game. Not so much that you call it rat, though, I don't think.
No. I mean, well, Furion's gonna rat, but...
yeah, but they're not all ratting.
No. I mean, it is a very, very strong early pushing lineup, as well as a strong team fighting and late game split pushing lineup. Again, I actually think both teams have really solid drafts. I think in the late game, I like Boreal a little bit better, unless you have like huge plays from Moon Meander with the Rat Dota. But I do think it is going to be slightly troublesome for them to deal with the laning setup from Complexity. I think Complexity's lanes are actually really, really strong.
Yep, and we will be getting into the game right now with Complexity all huddled up near the bottom rune. It looks like top rune's just going to go the way of Boreal. Nobody wanted to contest these, so Fly will be on the Rubik, one of what I'm beginning to consider one of his signature heroes. We've got Swindle Melons on the Lesh rank. Ziz will be on the Juggernaut. Z-Freak in the mid lane right now blocking, but going to be moving into the jungle surely on the Chin. And last but not least, it'll be Moon Meander on that good old mushroom-headed Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, and over on the side of Boreal, we're going to have PQ playing the Crystal Maiden, KVH handling our mid-Shadow Fiend, Gyrocopter played by Kikoni, we're going to have Sand King played by Pizza Dad 37, and Clockwork in the offlane handled by Jeppins.
Yep, and he's blocking up those creeps, of course. I'm SB Revolution 5, joined here by Hippie casting for Truesight TV, and we have LPQ stats on stats. It's a boatload of people in the lobby tonight, but here to bring you a great game of Dota, and I gotta say, I'm gonna root for the underdog here. I actually really like Boreal's draft up against this. They deal with the team fights very well. They have the potential to counter this split push pretty well, especially with the Gyrocopter, but it's still going to be a thorn in their side for sure.
Yeah, I do think they have a really stable lineup in particular. I think they're strong at pretty much all stages of the game. Moon is already getting some okay XP, though. I mean, he's already got his level 2, frustrating people, and he's forcing Pizza Dad to not be quite as greedy and just sit in the jungle. So it looks like he wants to leech a few levels if he wants to jungle at all.
And meanwhile, Jeppins is not quite accomplishing the same thing. I mean, Shin is still like, okay, I'm in the jungle. I'm just gonna jungle, because that's how Shin does.
Yeah, but he is getting his experience, and it's really, really frustrating for a Chen. If Jeppins gets early levels, I think there's a lot of heroes that are very, very vulnerable to Clockwork ganks. I think Fury in particular is very vulnerable to Clock ganks.
Definitely.
Obviously, the Chen is very vulnerable. Rubik can kind of get out of it. Lesh is pretty vulnerable once you get a Blade Mail. Like, if you have a Blade Mail, you can just go on Lesh in the mid-game and not care.
Yeah, because Lesh is like, I'm just gonna press R and kill the... Oh, wait, if you've got Blade Mail, I'll just not do that and wait. But KVH does connect on him with a raise in the mid lane. It's Swindle sustaining here. He does have a salve to heal himself back up before he gets his bottle, and he'll be spending that right now as Rubik manages to get the double damage on the bot lane, and Shadow Fiend grabbing a bounty up top. Should be able to control these runes rather nicely, but it's going to give Swindle some nice early XP as he's sitting a half a level ahead of KVH's Shadow Fiend at the moment.
Z-Freak has a really good ganking creep if he wants to try and make something happen on the mid lane. If they can catch all 3 supports top and he still has this troll, I think they actually go in on the Shadow Fiend. It's a very, very easy kill with the net.
Definitely.
It looks like he just wants to farm up for now, though. So
yeah, I mean, getting big levels on Leshrac is quite a big deal. And, you know, if you killed the Shadow Fiend, that tells his team, hey, we need to stop this guy. If you just kind of let the Shadow Fiend farm, sure, he's going to be a pain, but at least nobody's rotating into gank you just yet, hopefully. However,
oh yeah, here we go, Smoke. He's got double trolls, so he's got double net.
And this is where it can get ugly. And Swindle just dragging the creeps back like, yeah, I can't push right now. That's too bad, man. The big bluff coming out from him. Shadow Fiend will be bottle crowing for the moment. And he does have his boots up, at least.
Yeah, but if they can get net into stun into net on him, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Because he doesn't have the burst regen potentially from that bottle to keep himself alive. Meanwhile, of course, first blood going to happen elsewhere. We'll talk about that in a second as one net comes in. Swindle with the stomp. He's got some lightning as well. And Shin just says, look, you're going down, mate. There's no hope for you.
Easy game. Yeah, I mean, that is the power of the Chen. Early rotations coming out. Who died on the side of... Oh,
Juggernaut was killed by Roshan. Okay. I missed this. And of course, we've got a bit of analysis on Pro 6.84. Remember recording games too. Really?
So it's only against Na'Vi.
And I'm assuming.
Oh, and then Furion getting a kill on the gyro. Solo kill on the gyro. How does that even happen?
That should not happen.
No, he must have gotten way too aggressive, especially because CM has mana for a spell. Like, there is no way, unless the gyro was way out of position, that the Furion should have gotten a kill on that. He doesn't have ulti. It's not like he bounced an ulti. I don't even know how he got that.
Yeah, and I apologize for missing these kills, guys, but they're not the kind of kills we expect to happen. Especially since Nature's Prophet just should not be able to get this. But Moomy and Dota, I mean, what are you gonna say?
Talented Prophet players are miracle workers. So Pizza Dad is now getting his farm going. So he's going to be going for that early Blink Dagger. Already sitting on almost 600 gold. Oh, trying to steal with the Lesh Illusion. Didn't quite get it. Swindle trying for the big plays right there. Would have been funny. Z-Freak looks like he wants to go in on the clockwork. They have him forced back between the 2 towers.
Yeah, and he's going to be hiding in the little...
But they know, KBH and PQ, they're rotating.
Oh yeah, and
but I think they caught a glimpse of that. They caught a glimpse of that with that ward right there. Oh, Z-Freak is in so much trouble, but maybe not. He's got the double net with the double raise, and Z-Freak's gonna get destroyed by that Shadow Fiend damage. Looks like Fly just gonna try to deny himself up to Ancients. He knows better than to try and get out of that.
Yeah. Rubik just saying,
Smart
okay,
play.
I'll just die here. But keep in mind, 2 of the kills for Boreal now are denies to the Ancients. The rest of your kills are going over to Complexity. So it's really more like 3-1 right now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Obviously, they're losing a little bit of time in gold, but the Juggernaut got the first blood gold when he denied himself to Roshan. It looks like he might be going for an early Vlad's. He got his Bast Ring, which would, I think, actually work really well with the timing that Complexity wants to go for, because I feel like they really want that kind of stability and early pushing power that a Vlad's offers.
Yeah, definitely, especially now that it applies to range heroes. That can help a lot. It could still be that Ring of Aquila very easily. I mean, Juggernaut's an Agi hero, but I'm with you on the Vlad's thing. I can see that coming out pretty early as well.
I just think it really helps their mid-game timing if they can get their hands on an early Vlad's, especially with all of the Chen creeps. It really is such a big deal. And that also frees up Chen, because if Chen doesn't have to go for a Vlad's, he can go for something else early, like a quick mech. And that makes their mid-game really strong.
And unfortunately, they are going to miss the kill on Shadow Fiend since he was able to TP out very nicely. Leshrac taking down Sand King, and Jeppin's going to go down here on the bot lane as well to Ziz. So, again, Complexity roaring forward in this game, as was generally expected, I think.
Swindle knows, man. I mean, he has the haste rune. He knows that Sand King is playing greedy. He knows that there's really no way for him to get away, even with a good stun, because his stun is only level 2. He'd probably not get enough distance on it to actually get away from that haste rune.
Yep, we'll have a quick pause coming out right now. Server on US. Oh, server or us. Okay. I can't read.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Complexity's at the team house, so if they're spiking, it could just be their individual connection. Even if the whole team is spiking, you know?
Yeah, of course. I know they've had issues where Beef had to play AC Repairman over the TI qualifiers. But we will be ready to go right now. Penguin, getting the resume on the game. Let's take a look at our team net worth. Got about 3k in advantage for CoL, 2.5k in XP. Still a pretty even game, all things considered. I mean, Complexity have their slight advantage, but Boreal are doing all right.
Ziz actually got hooked in on. He does have the spin, but should
Jefferson's got him.
Moon is coming in though. Oh, he's gonna get out of range. Oh, the trees are coming out. The battery is still not able to finish him off, and Moon Meander gonna get the kill on Jeppins, and the rocket doesn't hit. The rocket doesn't hit. Ziz gets out scot-free, and Moon Meander picking up another beautiful kill for Complexity. Very, very nice counter play coming up there, and this should be an easy tower too, because everyone else is committed elsewhere. Moon can just push this.
Yeah, and
it is an
pushing
Aquila
the
for the
tower
jug,
mid.
by the way. It's totally an Aquila for the jug, which makes me sad. I actually really wanted the Vlads.
I kind of did too, but I could see the Aquila definitely working here because, I mean, granted, left track doesn't really need right click lifesteal. Same with most of these heroes. The only person I can really see it working for is the Nature's Prophet.
I mean, I'm not worried about the lifesteal as much as I am that the armor aura from Vlad's is better for everybody, and the armor aura is a really, really big deal for early push, especially when you're gonna have Presence of the Dark Lord coming out in a couple of levels.
And you have the Gyrocopter as well.
Yeah.
With the flak cannon, that's a big deal as well.
I mean, Gyro in the early game, you're not as worried about his physical damage. His magical is what you're really worried about, but the armor is really, really helpful for your creeps to make sure they can tank up the tower hits.
Yep. It definitely is, and that kind of push with this early sort of minion strat, not to, you know, quote the Forbidden Game, but having all these Nature's Prophet Treants, the Chin creeps as well, it's going to allow you to really tear down into those towers early, which they've already done in the mid lane. They've made some progress on the bot lane, but Kikoni just going to go down to a quick Omni Slash from the Jug up top. Moon Meander was here, didn't even need the Sprout though, as Jug was able to help bring him down. And it looks like Moon may be going for that Vlad's, unless it's a Force Staff.
You know? I mean, what else could he be getting out of a Ring of Regen that would actually be good this game?
Mech.
No.
No.
Yep, Chen should be good for Mac,
Yeah.
right? Well,
You would
actually,
think, anyway.
Chen is before. He's got his Arcane Boots, but he's not really close to anything else. Actually, he's
done a lot
okay.
of early rotations, so
Yeah. Maybe Moon could go for the fast mech, because if he can get one really fast, it would be nice. But
and that's old
I think
school.
if he's doing that, he would be going for a buckler first, usually.
Yeah, having that extra armor for your creeps once again would be quite a big deal. As Pizza Dad will get sniffed out here by Z-Freak. They're going to get the net off and the stun coming out from Centaur. It'll be enough to grab Pizza Dad. Meanwhile, Leshrac on the mid lane, taking down two. It's going to probably be a third. He will get it with the lightning bolt there, and that's a triple kill for Swindle Melons this early in the game. I mean, Complexity are getting such a great start, because keep in mind, it's actually like 10-1. Two of these kills were to Roshan and Ancients.
This was the thing I was most worried about for Boreal. I mean, you heard me say I thought they had a really stable draft. They could be strong at every, stage of the game, but that I thought Complexity had a much better early game and laning situation. So this is the worst thing that could possibly be happening for Boreal. If tier 2s start to get out, obviously tier 1s aren't worth nearly as much as they used to be, but if a bunch of tier 2s go down, that network advantage is going to skyrocket. And the team fight power from a lot of... Oh, okay. Thank you, LPQ.
Okay.
That's actually really helpful.
That's
so
really helpful.
It's definitely a Vlad.
Nope.
Oh God! Wow! Wow!
That is, it's got to be a Vlad's. Force
I
Staff.
hate Dota. I hate Dota so much. It is the worst game. Why do I play it?
That timing was priceless.
Oh my God!
Oh,
This
that's where
just
the universe
in.
is
This
just like,
in.
oh really? It has to be a Vlad's?
Yeah, this just in. Casters suck at Dota. News at 11.
We'll have a video clip for the caster's curse in the Webster's Dictionary now.
Yeah, right. Looks like they might want to go in on this Gyrocopter up top. Fly is getting in position. The Chen is there as well, and Furion just TPing in. Oh, too much damage, even with the call down coming out. And Rubik's. Oh no, he got flat cannon. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
I saw
he
the
got
steal.
called down there. That was. Oh.
Yeah, that would have been so terrible if he gotten called down there. Oh, looks like Swindle has an Invis rune. Might want to make something happen mid lane. He's sitting there on KVH. He's got his Soul Booster. Oh, and the stun comes out. Rubik is in. The lift is available. Pulse Nova. Too much damage. Just getting destroyed over here. Poor Boreal. Basically 12-1 right now. I mean, we keep harping on the fact that 2 of those kills for Boreal are actually neutral denied. How? I mean, I feel like at this point you need... Oh, Sand King skipped Epicenter so far. Does he have... No, okay. No, he's got a point. He's waiting to put a point in, I
Okay.
guess. There we go.
I
All right,
hope
he's
so.
I was gonna say they need that because they need to have like a big clock hook into a big epicenter, maybe a big Crystal Maiden ulti, but they need a really, really good fight. They can definitely still get back in this game. They have a stronger late game, but at the same time, it's really all on them taking advantage of mistakes by Complexity at this point. And frankly, they're not really making a lot of them. Oh, Kikoni gonna get treed in. Omni Slash gonna go out, finish him off. Jeppin's trying to get away, but the spin damage too high. And Swindle's gonna finish him off with a lightning bolt. And with the healing ward, they might be able to just go high ground or Roshan. They could easily Roshan right now.
And let's keep in mind,
There's the mech for Chen. They're just gonna go high ground with the mech.
yeah, we still haven't even seen the null field of Rubik to lock the magic resistance on these creeps. They've been more resistant to the Shadow Fiend raises, the Sand King damage, etc. And KBH is just gonna get melted right away. I mean, you want to defend this tower, that's great, that's kind of the object of the game, but if you're just gonna get melted like that, why are you even here, man?
Yeah, this is going to be an easy Rex. I mean, the Shadow Fiend's not up for another 20 seconds. I don't really think there's enough damage. I mean, the call down is available. There's the stun, but Ziz is going to dodge it with a beautifully placed spin. The call down's going to hit a few. Lots of damage coming out. Kikoni, though, going to be the first one to go down. Jeppin's going to hookshot in there. Finally going to get a kill on this Chen, but he popped everything first, except... Oh, no, he didn't get off the mech, actually. That would have been big if he got off the mech, too. But Jeppin's going to fall as well. 3 down on the side of Boreal. Shadow Fiend just coming back up from the previous fight. And that's a 13-minute Bloodstone on the Leshrac with a Rax already down. GG.
Yeah. They see that and they're just like, okay, no more. No more, please. My goodness. Game number 1 in the books already.
Just
a very quick one. I mean, yeah, it's Complexity Dota. This is what they like to do. They may not look amazing in their individual lanes, although this game they definitely did. But once they break out of those lanes, they're just like, okay, let's take this tower, let's take this tower, let's take the game.
Yeah, and hey, that's exactly what they did. Game over. I mean, I feel like if Boreal could have bought a little bit more time, they would have been okay, but a lot of the early rotations onto the Shadow Fiend and the Gyrocopter really, really made it very hard for them. And the offlane Clockwork didn't really get anything done. He felt like he was getting his levels early, but he just wasn't able to do anything because by the time he was ready to start going for solo kills, Complexity were as like 3 and 4.
Yeah, and there's no more solo kills to be had. They're out of stock. Please check again later. So we'll be going over to game number 2. Of course, Hippie, I believe you're going to be headed out right now.
I mean, this one was so fast, I could probably do the second one. Honestly, if you want, but obviously if Plague wants to come in, I'm not going to take it away from him.
Yeah, we'll figure it out real quick. And, of course, I'm SP Revolution 5. He's Hippie Casting. You can find us on Twitter under those names. And you're watching Truesight TV, which you can find on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch at Truesight TV. We will be back in just a bit, guys. So, just enjoy the music while you wait, and we'll see you in a bit.